This video is sponsored by SM Welding and Fabrication for all your contract metalwork design and fabrication needs. So, fascinating bit of old kit. Going to take a look at the transit van today. We've been meaning to fix the winch for quite a bit of time, so we've actually taken this one off the vehicle. Very old, very heavy. It was good while it worked, but unfortunately the motor's a bit broken. I'll talk a bit more about that later when we go over to the van, but it's now leaked oil everywhere, which is not great. So, it's actually an old Desert Dynamics winch, who were then bought by Pierce, so it's actually got a really old California made Desert Dynamics sticker on it, or plate on it, and then bits off a Pierce winch as well. So, fascinating bit of old kit. The motor is not in the best of shape. Can get a replacement, but I've actually got a spare winch lying around, so we're going to replace that on the van, and that should give us a working vehicle that we can use to actually pick stuff up rather than something that doesn't work. So we'll go over to the van and we can have a look and see what state everything's in there. We've got quite a bit of work to do on this. We're going to take it to SM Welding and Fabrication. Saulis is going to have a look at doing some welding for us, because we're not quite up to the standards and don't have the equipment yet. So we're going to try and get the frame that was on here holding the old winch that you've already seen, get that welded up with some new bars on it, to get this old winch from my Hilux, which I don't think we've shown on the channel properly yet. But we'll get this old winch on here put on. The one that was on here, the black one, was really just completely unreliable. It would work on in and not on out, and then sometimes it would work the opposite way around, then it would stop working halfway through. We've put new tyres on this transit van. We're going to do some work on the engine at some point, but really just trying to get to the point where we can use it reliably. The first step of that is making it usable as a vehicle to actually recover stuff with, so we get this winch fixed. Saulius is. It's time to have a look now, see if we can sort out this wiring. It's not quite long enough to reach the new winch, so we're going to have to take the cover off the box for the controller, extend some of these wires. I think we'll swap some of them around and probably make some new ones to get to here. Then we can do some winch testing. Might even get around to adding in the isolation switch that's supposed to be on here, but we'll see how that goes. So just to double check, yeah, our winch is definitely disconnected from the battery. Not likely to cause any shorts by touching any of the terminals and hitting them to ground. Back on the winch here, we've got the armature connector and then field 1 and field 2. We're going to have to swap those around. Over here on the box we've got field 1 and field 2 here, and the armature one there. I think this one might be long enough. I'm going to do some measuring in a sec and may be able to get that one to run from here, or we may just be able to get this one extended up by pulling it round a little bit. We'll see what we can do with that one. Terminal 1 is field, terminal 3 is field, terminal 4 is armature, and terminal 2 is supply. That's got that one on. There we go. Although, clown alert. Try that again. Definitely going to need to get some boots for these, I think. I might be able to go long enough. Not quite. The cable that I'd got out was actually 70mm squared, which looked like it was the right size, but actually it's 50mm squared cable that's on there. So I'm going to have to see if I can have a route about in my giant box of big old cables, see if we can find some 50mm squared cable to replace that stuff that's on there and make a longer lead. Looking at the writing on this one, it is actually 2 by 35mm, so that's too thin. This stuff's 70mm, and the cable that I took off is 50, so I've got connectors for 70. So I think what I'll do is I'll make up a lead with a 70. I want to make a huge amount of difference and go from there. So I've done some checking with this 70 and 50. It looks like the 70 won't fit through the grommets, so what I'm going to do is reuse this one as the ground, which is underneath, under here. What we'll do is we'll probably put in a new ground point somewhere in the chassis to ground that to, and then we'll have to purchase some 50mm cable and we can make up a new lead. Still might use this 70 though to run in for a new power supply rather than this nasty old, what it looks like probably 20 or 25. We can replace that and we get a much nicer power supply in there. So it's a few days later. Managed to find a large length of 70mm red cable in my box. Wasn't any use for wiring up the winch, but it did give me an idea, reminding me that I already had this switch box. So what I'm going to do is wire up that 70mm from the battery to the switch box inside the cab. Then we'll go from the switch box using some more 70mm to this distribution box, and then we can feed the winch from there. Got all the bits to do it. Let's get on with it. See the wire coming up to the end there. Take our hydraulic crimpers. Set them to 1. It's definitely on. Definitely in the right place. Crimp. Okay. One cable. There we are. Put that over there. Heat gun. Let's see if we can get this cable cut off. Run this from the battery all the way inside the cab here, so we can put that up against the back wall. See if we can get through this. I don't have any cutters that are big enough to do this, I don't think, but let's give this a go with these little ones. This is some tasty 70mm cable after all. These set up, all those. Have to use one size down all the time for this tool for some reason, so this is a 50mm. I'm using the 35 on the 50. Get this cut to the right length. Let's get that hefty connector on there. Oh yeah, there's one. Let's go down that way instead. Get our new bit of cable. It's a nice bit here. Get that on the other side. Pop that out through the other hole. Out behind the cab. And we should be good to go. There we go. And that can get bolted on there. Currently off, on, off, on, off. When it's off, you can take the button off. It's not necessarily great, but there we go. Right, we've done quite a bit of work on this truck now. Missed some of the video out because it got way too dark to do any video, and we were just sort of doing it in torchlight effectively, but we've done lots of wrapping up of cables, which I'll show you in a sec. Got all the connectors booted up, got trunking on, got everything tied down, and wire harness clips put in to put everything into place. So I'll give you a little demo of what that looks like in a sec. Hopefully should make everything a bit safer. The winch demo will be coming soon. Got to try and find a vehicle we can winch up, and you can see how well this is working now compared to the other one. This is going to need fixing on, but we've got that all sorted out there. It's all trunked in nicely up to this point and all sealed off, so that should be pretty good. These all had their heat shrink put on them, so that should be good just to get a back for this and get this mounted on there. That's the isolation switch. Around on the top here we've got the 3 cables now nicely put onto there. We've got a new earth strap put onto the back here, into the main part, and we've got our main supply cable coming in with its grommet on there as well, so we've now got a new nice supply on there. And then under here, it's easy to see or not, we've had a bit of a tidy up under here, so everything's been trunked and then wrapped in fabric tape, just to get that so it looks pretty nice. It's all been run round and then goes through and goes off over to the battery on the other side underneath the main bed of the truck. And then as you can see under here, everything's been trunked in. We run this along here, just need to do some tidying up, get rid of these cable ties and so on. There's no point in putting any black cloth tape around this at this point. It's fairly well protected from the elements under here, so it should just protect it, and the trunking will stop it rubbing against anything that we don't want it rubbing against. So we could do an example of how this works. Just turn that on, take this remote, and turn that on the side. It's the wireless remote, and then should be able to go over here, and that comes out pretty good. It sounds a lot more powerful than the other winch, which is good. Spins up more freely, sounds a lot more powerful, which is great. Get that wound back up again, and that's all working pretty good. So that's just out and then back in again. But what we need to do is get that onto a vehicle and get it tested.